Hey guys, this is Danny Boy. This is a continuation of my last video, in which I ranted aimlessly about Blizzard and the Real Money Auction House. Again, this is some Witchdoctor gameplay in the new beta build, patch 13, in which they revamped the rune system. Basically, and I'm not going to rant so much this video, but Blizzard has really tried to appeal to a much larger audience with this game, as they do with all their games. But this game in particular, definitely something that resonates with me still is, I believe it was Bashiok, one of the community managers for Blizzard, his comment along the lines of, well, he or someone else's grandmother was having trouble with the UI, so we thought we should simplify it to make it more accessible. Something along those lines. That's definitely a paraphrase of that statement, but a grandmother was definitely mentioned. And that alone is just horrifying. But yes, I definitely feel that there is absolutely no reason to simplify this game as much as it is. And making it so easy. Normal in this game, in the beta, is very easy. I haven't commented pretty much at all about the actual gameplay going on in the background, but yes, this is all very simple. I'm just spamming my little dart, spreading the poison around, casting my Corpse Spider ability. Corpse Spider is just when I throw that vase and some spiders pop out. An absolutely phenomenal ability, by the way, one of my favorites in the entire beta. Very cool. Does some good damage, and then, I mean, my zombie dogs I basically don't have to worry about at all. My pets, they almost never die. When they do, I can just press a button and summon them all back again. And I understand that this is Act 1 normal. I mean, it's not supposed to be difficult, but as a person who's played Diablo 1 and Diablo 2, and probably played hundreds of hours of the latter, though I did play quite a bit of Diablo 1 as well, yeah, Act 1 normal and Diablo 2 was a hell of a lot harder than this, insofar as there was, at the least, though the random mobs weren't difficult, the occasional mini-boss and the boss actually required you, depending on your character, depending on how twinked they were, you know, if they were twinked obviously wouldn't be an issue, but if you're just playing with the fresh character, you know, it would take some effort. You know, Bloodraven on a sorceress, or on an untwinked, you know, necromancer, or on an untwinked, you know, Boazon, or something, you know, not the easiest, or certainly Javazon, not the easiest thing in the world. Not difficult by any means, but it actually requires you to, you know, not robot everything, you know? The Smith could be really annoying depending on your class. He hit like a freaking Mack truck and had a shit ton of life. Griswold, even, you know, Tristram, not difficult, but not mind-numbing. And Dariel could be quite difficult depending on your class. You might have to quaff, you know, a ton of potions in order to get through that fight. Might actually have to use antidote potions to get through that fight. Depending, again, all depending on your class and your particular spec. There is not a single challenging boss in all of Act 1 in the beta. There's not a single challenging anything, really, in the entire beta. Today played and apparently I am not as most players are, because from what I understand, at least as far as Blizzard says from their internal statistics, the vast majority of players play through the beta once on one character and never play it again. I played through the last build of beta at least 10 times. It's probably something, I got just about every character to max level, or very close to it, which takes 3 to 4 runs, depending on how much you complete. And I complete as little as possible, so it's probably more like 4 runs or so per character. That's about 20 runs, so you're talking about 40 minutes or so per run, maybe as much as like 50, maybe an hour, absolute tops an hour. So definitely, you're talking at least, you know, 7 to, you know, I doubt it was 10 hours, but 7 to 9 hours or so playing the beta in the last build. Just today, I played 7 straight hours. Again, repeating all the crap that I just did, because they of course wiped characters so I could see the new runes and actually play with them firsthand. Not many players actually do that, but I definitely know this beta inside and out at this point. And there is nothing challenging in this beta. In the 7 hours of footage that I just took today, I think I died maybe 3 times, and the only times I ever died were on a monk who was naked except for his weapons, and then a barbarian who was naked except his weapons. I think I died twice in the monk and once in the barbarian. And the reason I died was because I just simply stopped caring when it comes down to it. Because, my god, playing through this beta 7 hours straight, playing through Act 1 over 10 times is a horrifying experience, and I recommend it to no one. I was so bored. By the end of it, you have no idea. I wanted to kill myself, pretty much. So, there's nothing challenging about this beta. The only thing that comes remotely close is the Skeleton King. And even saying that is absolutely laughable. He telegraphs his abilities so visibly. I mean, just getting hit is shameful most of the time. I mean, if you have your try-hard helmet on during that fight and you get hit, then shame on you, because there's no reason for it ever. And if you do get hit, he spawns skeletons that do nothing as far as being a threat to you, that he'll actually usually kill himself, that drop health globes. So, yippee. It's my hope and my friend's hope that on Inferno difficulty, a lot of the bosses will actually gain new mechanics and become significantly more challenging. I really hope they do something like that. Kind of like hard modes and MMOs. Because as it stands, it's not just a scaling thing. It's not they're easy because of scaling. They're easy because of their mechanics are easy. I mean, what am I doing right now? I'm killing zombies that are literally nothing. They auto-attack. And these big blobby guys that also basically just auto-attack, that have a little bit of life. The one interesting thing about them is when they explode, it's not the fact that stuff comes out of them, that stuff is inconsequential. It actually does do a fair bit of damage. By fair bit, I mean like maybe 1/10 of your health bar. In this beta, 1/10 of your health bar, and on a pretty much naked character, mind you. I think the guy you're looking at right now has a mask on and has some random trash chest piece. And that's because I had auto-equip stuff toggled on. And I'm pretty sure every other one of my characters I just played through naked except for their weapon. And I would play without the weapon too, but it's really boring to do so because everything scales with weapon damage now. Gone are the days of casters being totally naked, even without weapons or whatever, because, I mean, everything scales with weapon damage. So you can do it, but it's going to take for freaking ever. I mean, it's going to be really boring, so... But, yeah, I mean, 1/10 of your health bar against a naked character, and honestly that's probably one of the hardest hitting things in the entire beta that isn't the Skeleton King. He does significant damage, but you need to literally sit there and freaking, like, hug him and just give him kisses and let him beat on you for a full 2 or 3 seconds to actually do significant damage to you. But it's there if you're really stupid. I mean, but it's my belief that people aren't actually that stupid. It's certainly my hope that people aren't actually that stupid. So there's that. Hopefully the actual game will be significantly harder. Hopefully the max difficulty will be significantly harder. As a person who plays exclusively on the hardest difficulties possible, it's just boring. I mean, and I'm sorry that I'm rambling and I'm ranting again, but you make something so so easy that it just becomes boring. Things can be easy and still be entertaining. I mean, this is just mindless. Here I actually got into a fairly lengthy fight, not a particularly difficult fight. I mentioned in my last video that I forgot to upgrade my weapon on this guy. I did make it a point to always do that just because this isn't hard, it's just boring and it's taking forever. This huge mob of opponents, what's happening are there are these 3 or 4 witchy chicks in the back that puke on you and summon zombies. And as I'm a Witchdoctor, I have nothing that I can shoot up and over these mobs of zombies. Well, I do have my spider thing, but the spiders attack random targets, at least from what I could see, and they don't actually travel that far, and then they die. So it's really hard for me to actually focus the witches themselves. I think I eventually start just like running up to them and just spamming frogs on them or something to just kill them. Especially also when I'm, again, a Witchdoctor and I have mana, and it's... Honestly, I think mana is probably the most limiting resource in the entire game of all the classes, especially in the early game, because you have really no way of increasing your regen. I mean, even arcane power regenerates significantly faster, like orders of magnitude faster than mana. Maybe not orders of magnitude, but faster. But anyway, and also, I have to cast a lot more spells with the mana I have than a wizard has to cast with his arcane power. I mean, a wizard could cast arcane orb 3 or 4 times during his arcane power, but everything would be dead. I probably cast frogs now like 50 or 60 times, and I'm still in this fight that's just going on forever. What's funny is I actually enjoyed this to at least some extent, just because, I mean, it wasn't mind-numbing. I actually had to concentrate on focusing a particular target. I'm finally going exclusively after the witches. I was kind of just farming experience there for a little bit and just messing around, seeing what I could do with frogs. Yes, Plague of Toads is essentially just, honestly, in its ruined form, it's just a charged bolts that does poison damage when it comes down to it. Maybe a little more effective than charged bolts. Charged bolts is pretty hard to hit people unless you're at point-blank range. Definitely fun, though. I absolutely love the flavor of the Witchdoctor, even though he starts pretty slow. And keep in mind, I mean, I've already played a Witchdoctor level 13, so I've already done all this before. I'm doing it exclusively just to see the new runes. So the runes definitely help a lot. I mean, this beta without the runes was just really boring for the most part. It's a lot better with the runes. And I do not think that this would be playing with other players really would make, and not that I have, because I mean, I guess I could, I just haven't had the desire. I mean, it's much quicker to just run through and be done with it in 40 minutes. I really am doing this purely for research, you know, and seeing the new abilities much more so than actually playing it. I really don't want to be playing it right now. I'm actually a little late to the party because I didn't, well, for one, I didn't know runes were implemented, and for two, I just didn't want to do it. I'd already done it. It's just so simplistic. There's nothing really memorable about Act 1. It's just, you know, essentially Act 1 in Diablo 2. You're in fields, and there's mausoleums, and there's the monastery, the cathedral, whatever. I mean, there's nothing particularly interesting. There aren't any bosses that are interesting whatsoever. Again, the only thing that comes close is the Skeleton King, and he's so easy and simple that I really... And when I face him, I don't feel like I'm facing Leoric from Diablo 1. I feel like I'm facing a random boss in a 5-man in World of Warcraft. I mean, honestly. I don't feel like I'm playing Diablo when I face him. I don't feel at all like this is even dark. It's like playing in Wrath of the Lich King in World of Warcraft. It's like a slightly gothic, cartoony game. I don't know. Really hope that things change significantly. I hope the game gets a lot darker as time goes on. Honestly, I don't even know if this game is rated mature. I really hope it is, but I really should look that up. As it stands, I haven't really seen anything that's invocative of an M rating. I mean, I don't even think they curse in the game, for God's sakes. They removed all the pentagrams and all of the pagan iconography, which is a real shame. I know Max Schaefer and the guys making Torchlight and Torchlight 2, I don't know if you know, but a lot of those guys, including the lead developers, were on Blizzard North, which was the company that made Diablo 2 before they were liquidated back in like 2003 or so. They actually started working on Diablo 3, but then they scrapped it and they started from scratch. That's why the game has taken so long to develop, because they've had different development staffs working on it. And those guys have said, yeah, if we were making the game, we definitely wouldn't have gotten rid of that. We respect their choices, but we definitely would have gotten rid of that. Well, personally, I don't respect your choices. You shouldn't have gotten rid of that. I don't know why you did. Stop making the game childish. Seriously. And I'm not one of the people that are like, there's rainbows and happy kittens and puppies. And I think they actually got rid of the rainbows in one of the previous, way back in the day, maybe at the Worldwide Invitational or something. This was years ago. They showed some beta footage of it, the very earliest beta footage, and there were like waterfalls and rainbows, and that was a running, I think it even almost became a meme, at least on game message boards for a while, just ripping on Diablo 3 for being I mean, there's freaking rainbows in the game. What are you doing? I'm pretty sure they got rid of that, but I don't know. It's so rare that you get a game, that's actually, worthy of an M rating. Can we please make this a little more mature? It's not that bad. It's not as bad as a lot of people will say, but it could be better. And guys, I understand. This is Act 1, and it's just the beta. It's the freaking beta that never ends, that a lot of people are sad that they're not getting into it. Guys, don't be sad you're not in this beta. It's just it's a demo. You're not even beta testing anything at this point. The things they've changed have not been because of player feedback. It's because of internal development feedback. Like, you're not missing anything. It's not a big deal. I honestly wish they would just be done with this already. They're not testing anything anymore. Alright guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one. Stay tuned for part 3.